Well, welcome back to the wagon shop here in Joliet. And I stand in amazement that it's been 42 years. I'm 67 now, so that means I started when I was 25 in partnership with my brother-in-law Rick Bischoff, who has a luminary shop. Many of you watch his channel. I think back to those days and I am amazed at the number of people that started to put their trust in a young guy that really literally almost knew nothing. And I have told a number of people when they asked me who my teachers were, and I have told many of you that the Wagons were my teachers, which is very true. But I've also used a number of people as my teachers, those who are the old timers that have been down the path long before I have. And I pick up bits and pieces here and there, and I've always been amazed that they would put their trust in me as a wagon builder, wanting to be a wagon builder in those days. And the experience kind of came bit by bit, and knowledge kind of grew, and the abilities kind of grew, and it's just what happens. Being young, 25 years old, and brave enough to take a chance, and daring enough to say, I think I can do it, even though I've never done it before. So I have used, in a good sense, people as guinea pigs, so to speak, to learn. I have learned kind of old school of hard knocks. That's just the old school of learning. There isn't really an apprenticeship trade out there that anyone can go to. So it's a school of hard knocks, and that's been my school. And I don't know that I'm a graduate yet. So a lot of people have put up with my stumblings and fumblings, and over the years I've actually had a couple back in the shop with vehicles that I had done 20, 30 years prior, and I've asked them if I could please redo that coach or that buggy or carriage, because I know a lot more now than I did then. Well, in that same regard, this video deal is kind of the same thing. I kind of cut my teeth a little bit on a few instructional DVDs, and then when I was a little more involved in YouTube, actually my start in YouTube was because of the borax wagons. And I go back and I look at those videos now and go, boy, they could be a whole lot better. But that's just the way it is. It's kind of like my carriage building. I go back far enough, it could have been a whole lot better. But anyway, I am willing enough to take a chance and try something new and try to learn. So this video is kind of along that line. I have this wagon that I mentioned last week from the Spiro Ranch that I need to rebuild. And as I drug it in off of the back lot, I kind of spread it out and explained some of the history of the Spiro Ranch. Well, I had a chance to visit with Scott from Essential Craftsman. He stopped by several weeks ago, and we were visiting about cameras, and we were just around the shop, just two shop guys kind of visiting. And he asked me if I had ever done any time-lapse video in the shop here. He had a GoPro Hero 9, and he actually talked me into buying one. He doesn't know this yet, but so I've been kind of playing with that a little bit. But he asked me if I'd done any time-lapse. So this week is kind of like a sanding project. It's just a lot, many of you are going to go, oh no, not more sanding. No, it's not more sanding. But it's the disassembly and sandblasting of this wagon gear, getting it ready to put together. So it's a long process. So I thought I'm going to experiment at your expense how time-lapse works for this project. So to begin with, I'm going to tear it apart, and I get some visitors that show up in the midst of it, and kind of go through the disassembly process so I can begin the reassembly eventually. Well, once I get it all disassembled, I like to reassemble it just out on the floor, as you can see, kind of help just put it in my head where all the pieces go. But the next process is take and run it all through this sandblaster here. I have put, I don't know how many hours behind this glass, sandblast and iron. But it really is the only way to go. So that's what I get to do now, and it takes all day to do this. But with the benefit of time-lapse, we're going to cut it down to maybe a couple minutes. Well, this is all part of my learning curve on how to do a better job videoing what I do here in the shop. So I appreciate you putting up with my experimenting. Let me know what you think about this time-lapse deal. It's kind of like watching old silent movies, you know, back in the day, way before my time. But the deal about time-lapse, there is no audio. So anyway, appreciate you following along. Thanks for watching.